Namaste all the viewers and friends. We are very happy with the response that we are receiving for our health topics videos that we are making. We wish and hope that your response continues and our enthusiasm to make these videos will also continue. Today we have come up with a topic that we wanted to discuss since a long time actually, and when we meet our patients, when they ask us about yoga therapy sessions, there's a boost for us to do this topic all the more. So what are the prerequisites for yoga practice? I think it's one of the most important topic that we have to understand before we start practicing yoga, be it therapy or be it yoga practice in general. So when it comes to prerequisites, there are two categories, that is external prerequisites and internal prerequisites. What comes in external prerequisites? The ambience of the place where we are practicing yoga. Is it peaceful? Are we having a lot of disturbances in terms of noise? Even the space for that matter. Is it spacious for us to practice comfortably? And also whether there's any greenery around, whether there's a lot of, whether the room is clean or not. Even that is something that will matter a lot. Is the room or the area that we are practicing well ventilated and naturally ventilated? Usually outside or on a terrace, in a balcony, in a park, when you practice yoga, you feel very energized, you feel very good. So well ventilated and naturally ventilated space is also very important. It should be adequately lit. The light should not hit your eyes very sharp, and at the same time it shouldn't be very dark as well. So it should be adequately lit. And best would be if there's morning sun rays that is there in the room or in the place that you're practicing yoga. Your clothing should also be very comfortable. We usually suggest and advise our patients or clients to put on clothing that is cotton, that is very comfortable. Skin should be able to breathe comfortably. Your movements should be easy with the clothing. Your clothing shouldn't restrict the movement. So the clothing is also an external prerequisite that is very, very important. And along with all of this, we should also make sure that, if you want, you can play a very light music in the background that will, set the mood for you to practice yoga. It could be an omkara chanting, it could be an instrumental music. If it is appropriate for you. There are people who would not want any music to be played. That's completely okay if music is not played, but that kind of helps to focus on what we are practicing. Instructor is another external prerequisite, especially for beginners and for people who cannot really focus and concentrate or cannot practice yoga in one stretch for 1 hour. Instructor is going to be very helpful. An instructor will be able to lead you, will be able to train you, will be able to tell you how to do, how not to do, what should you do, when should you do, what are the sequence of yoga practices that you should adopt. So an instructor in the beginning especially is very, very helpful. Even a lot of people would want instructor on a long run also, because they know if they're allowed to practice on their own, there's going to be a lot of diversions. There's going to be breakfast that needs to be prepared, there's going to be some phone call, there's going to be somebody ringing the doorbell. So reasons to cut short the practice or deviate from the practice are numerous. So if we have to stay focused for an hour, then it is very important that we have an instructor. Along with that, like I told you, instructor will help you enhance your practice. Will be able to correct your postures, correct your breathing patterns. So even there, instructor plays a very important role. When it comes to therapy, yoga therapist or a yoga doctor is mandatory. So here there's no choice. I cannot say do therapy on your own. Therapy always requires a therapist or a doctor who can do it, who can guide you to do it. So these are the external prerequisites that are required. When it comes to internal prerequisites, which are all the more important than the external prerequisites, First one is inclination to practice. For somebody who do not have inclination to yoga practice, if we drag them and say, no, do yoga practice, they will not be able to do it. It is going to be more like a torture rather than a peaceful practice session. So inclination to yoga practice is mandatory. Second thing, am I practicing with awareness? Am I practicing with involvement? So if you have to practice with involvement and awareness, you should set your mind for it. You should prepare yourselves to integrate your body, your breathing, your mind comfortably with the practice, and that is when it is called yoga. So along with inclination to practice, involvement and awareness is also very, very important. Of course, bowel should be empty. We cannot practice yoga when we have not emptied our bowels. Of course, people who have tried would definitely agree to the point that there's a lot of complications with it. There's going to be muscle catches, or there's going to be pressure for bowel movement during the session, so it is going to disturb the practice itself. You should practice in empty stomach as well. That doesn't mean that you practice when you're extremely hungry. You should practice, see, yoga practice is for peace of mind. It's for you to make yourselves comfortable physically and mentally. So yoga practice should also be during when your tummy is not full, nor is it waiting for you to put food into it. Yes. So along with all of this, time of practice is something a lot of people ask. When should I practice yoga? Ideally, early morning is the best time for you to practice, when sun is rising, when there are birds chirping, when the sunset is, when the sun rays are hitting you gently, when the wind or the breeze is very calm, when the noise is very less. That's the ideal time for you to practice yoga. It is going to rejuvenate you and prepare you for the entire day, physically as well as mentally. If you do not have time to practice in the morning, even around sunset is the time that you can practice. Practicing around sunset should be able to help you relax the entire day activities mentally, physically. If yoga practice is going to help you relax, evening sessions are also comfortable. Of course, there are people who do mid meals around 11 o'clock, I'll just do half an hour yoga. There are people who do, 4 o'clock, I'll just do half an hour yoga. These are people who are basically trying to do yoga, but as a form of exercise. There are a lot of people who tell us, I didn't sweat at all today in the yoga session. Sweating is not a mandatory for yoga practice. So yoga is something that will make you energized, feeling of energized, feeling of rejuvenation is important, rather than, okay, I've worked out, I've sweat a lot, I'm feeling tired, I'm hungry. These are not the prerequisites, nor are they the outcomes that we are expecting with yoga practice. Yoga is defined as samatvam yoga uchyate in Bhagavad Gita, which means everything that is balanced. Samatva is a state of equilibrium, is a state of balance. So when external environment is in balance with the internal environment, then practice of yoga, attaining deeper states of equilibrium and equanimity is easy. With that, I end today's discussion about prerequisites for yoga practice. Let's come up with further topics. Thank you.